Hi there everybody, Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thanks for joining me today for another card making tutorial, and we're doing some more Christmas cards, just building up that stash in case there's some extra ones that you need. So the focus is on trying to get the cards done nice and quickly, trying to give you some time saving tips along the way. So for this card that we're going to do today, this is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to show you how you can just make them in pairs, which is quite good. So two cards can be made quite quickly, and obviously if you want to multiply that up, obviously that you can sort of do the same thing over and over again. But it's a good way just to get a couple of cards done quite quickly. Alright, so hopefully that will be useful for you, and we're using these sets from the annual catalogue. So these Christmas season and Christmas to remember partner together really well to make your Christmas cards. And there it is. The seasonal labels dies actually coordinates with both of these. There are labels to cut out sentiments, and also the holly and berries and stuff in the Christmas season set. So those three products go together very well. There is another die that goes with it, which is like a fern sort of layered sort of pinecone and fir tree thingy. But these three, I don't think they're bundled together anymore, so if you wanted to buy these three, they go together beautifully to create really nice easy Christmas cards. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So just to say that the colours on this one were real red, shaded spruce. There is a bit of garden green in there as well, but we're going to stick with the same green in the other sample just to make things simpler. Okay, and then I've got basic grey on smoky slate cardstock. It's okay, so sort of a mix of the traditional with the non-traditional there, with the grey coming in. And this is also aimed at people who don't necessarily celebrate Christmas per se, so it's a sentiment for the season that doesn't necessarily say Merry Christmas. So that's what we're aiming for today. Alright, so now I am fortunate enough to have several acrylic blocks that I can pre-mount all my stamps onto. And if you can do this, this is another great sort of time-saving tip for you, because it just means you're not sort of trying to reposition stamps on blocks and all that kind of stuff. But like I say, not everyone's got multiple blocks. Okay, but like I say, if you can do this, this is a great little way to save some time. The other thing that we're going to be doing is trying to sort of basically these three stamps. That's just for the background, so that's just going to go in the background. These three are what make up our holly leaves and berries and things. And what I'd like to be able to do is basically stamp all three of those and get them run through the die cut machine in one pass. Okay, so what I actually did was I've cut some cardstock. Now I did already stamp, I got a bit carried away and stamped my berries already, but basically this cardstock is just wide enough for the those berries to not berries, what are those called, holly leaves, to fit onto. So I cut the strip, and it's about, I think it's a half a sheet of cardstock. Let me just measure that for you. Yeah, so I cut my cardstock in half, so that's like 5 7/8 of an inch, which is half of a sheet of A4. Then I cut a strip off that was, just so happens to be just over 1.5, so 1.5 inches probably would have done it anyway. Okay, so there's a strip there that we can just stamp on. Okay, and then equally I've got another strip here, which is the full width of A4. but is only 2.5 inches wide, which is perfect for the sentiment strip. Okay, so what we were aiming to do is kind of basically fit all our dies onto one strip of cardstock without overlapping, so we can get them all to cut in one go. Okay, does that make sense? So this is what we're aiming for basically. So like I say, I got a bit carried away with my pen. I was like, oh, well, I'll just carry on, and I was like, oh, no, I'm supposed to be demonstrating that bit, puddinghead. So there we go. So berries are already done, and that's with cherry cobbler this time, and I'm going to use pear pizzazz as the green. Just mixing up the colours really. It's just to say that, you know, it doesn't have to be shaded spruce and what I would call that traditional sort of green. And then the holly leaves should nicely fit at the bottom here. Okay, so that's them. That's just going to take a moment to dry. It's quite a wet ink pad, that is. I do like pear pizzazz. It's a nice soft green, and yeah, it's not what you would call holly colour, but who cares? You know, if you want to stick with the shaded spruce, which is a bit more like it, then go for it. I don't actually know if there are different varieties of holly. Not really a horticulturist of any description really. So I don't know whether they come in different varieties with different coloured leaves, but if anyone knows, drop a comment. So there you go, you see, all of those will fit onto one strip like so. So the one thing you don't want to do with dies is overlap them. That's the one thing that will certainly damage your dies, okay? And obviously that minimises waste on your cardstock as well. I mean, okay, there are gaps and stuff, but you know, we're doing our best to minimise the waste there, and then we can just stamp our sentiment, which we're going to do in crumb cake. Okay, so it's a bit of a different combination of colours. Okay, but sticking with sort of a neutral, if you like, with the red and the green. So it's crumb cake, pear pizzazz, cherry cobbler. That's this combination. Okay, so and then that could be die cut as well. So we'll just shuffle these off to one side for a moment. And these fit through the mini cutting emboss as well. Okay, so we'll just pop those open, grab the cutting plate, so I've just left it there. So base plate, number one plate, and then we sandwich our dies between there. And you know, that's just going to go through in one pass, and then you've got it all stamped, ready to go, and then you just reposition your dies onto your next piece of cardstock and wind that through. So that's going to be really cool. So obviously you do that for the number of embellishments that you want. I'm using 2 sets of berries and leaves on each card, so I'm going to need 2 strips, but you know, it kind of depends on your layout. If you decide to use less, then you might need to, then you may not need as many die cuts. Alright, so they are all done. We'll pop those out properly in a second. So just want to borrow that bit of tape and position this die over the sentiments here. Now of course I haven't stamped it straight, which means I'm just going to try and line that up. That's about right. Okay, and we'll just roll that through as well. Okay, so to do my 2 cards, I will have wound the plates through 4 times, 1 each for the sentiment and 1 each for the 2 sets of berries. Does that make sense? Oh, need to leave that there. I'm going to show you another little tip or trick or something that you might find interesting that I haven't seen done for a while, and I don't know what came to me, why it suddenly popped into my head to do it. But I'm just going to pop that just back into the actual die. It sort of slots into those grooves, yeah? And I'm going to take the stylus tool from, this is from the Simply Scored. You could also use the stylus attachment on your Take Your Pick tool, okay? But I couldn't actually find that right just this second. It's in one of these pots on top of here somewhere, but I haven't got the attachment handy for this one, so I'll just grab the stylus tool and the finer tip, and I'm just running along the inside of that die with the stylus to basically emboss that around the edge, and the edge of the die, you'll feel it through the thing. Gives you something to trace around, and it just gives you just this little, just emphasises that little bit of dimension there. Okay, so just a little thing that you may want to do with your dies. Okay, so we've got I'd already die cut 2 of them, and these are the only things that are having dimensionals onto them. So I'm just going to use some of my sort of scrappy bits of dimensional around the edge there as well. Oops, that'll do. There we go. Use all those bits around the edge. So those are ready. We just need to pop all of these out. So we've got 2 sets of all of this now. We just need to put together the berries. I think it's really clever how they've done these actually. So that those berries layer together, otherwise it would have been a bit fiddly otherwise. So that's the first thing to do, just get those done, because we just need those to be dry. So I'm just going to put a couple of specks of glue where those berries sit so that they can start to set. So that's dead easy to line up, obviously. Ooh, whoop. If you don't press too hard, that is. Okay. Golly, or get them up off your work surface even. There we go. Right, so those are being polished off and drying. So I'm just bringing in card bases then, because as per the original sample, the ink matched the cardstock. I did use the grey rather than the smoky slate just for a bit more intensity, but that's what we've got. 2 card bases in crumb cake. So remember, you can get 2 card bases out of a full sheet of A4, and we're just going to layer on 2 sort of background pieces here. So these are cut to 4 by 5 3/4. And that just gives you just a little bit of a border, a skinny border. If you like a bit more of a border, take the extra off to suit you. Sometimes I do deeper borders around there if I want that colour to show a little bit more. These ones I'm just going for the skinny card and skinny border, I should say, and what I do is I prepare loads of card panels in advance, so I'll have a whole stash of these ready to go, and I also have them in some slightly smaller sizes as well. So so I'll take down so those are sort of an 1/8 of an inch shorter and narrower than the I'm looking for my bone folder, the card bases, but I'll have some that are, you know, 1/4 of an inch and whatever, so there's things to play with. So that's our backgrounds. The next thing is I'm going to just pop those there, but we want to put in these little sort of speckles in the background, which we're going to do with the crumb cake ink, just to tone in with the rest of the card. I'm not sure if I've cleaned that off, so I'm just going to just make sure it's clean. And we need those to stretch out. So on this one, I eyeballed it and I ended up covering a lot of them, but actually they need to be fanned out quite a ways before to see them properly. So I've just learnt that that's the way we need to do that. So every day's a school day sort of thing. So we're going to go somewhere there, somewhere up there, somewhere around there, and again somewhere down here. So you just don't want them to be covered up. Not particularly fussed where they land particularly, it's just how they're going to. Oops, and a little bit overzealous with the ink there. It's fine. I'm sure no one will notice it's our little secret. Okay, and that'll be fine. It's going to be absolutely cool. Okay, so now we just need to get things built up. So we'll get these dimensionals off, dimensional backs off, I should say. Oh. Those ones have been a bit stubborn. Okay. So yeah, just looking to get them central, sort of left and right, and you know, you can kind of mess about with the height or whatever. I think somewhere around. Oh, I don't think that's straight though. Okay, never mind. That focused on getting the board right, and it wasn't looking whether they were level or not. I think that one's a bit better. There we go. Okay, dokie. And then, yeah, so I've just realised as well, what I should have done was done another set of those, okay? Okay, but we'd repeat the process, right? So I'll have to do another set of those off camera. Brain wasn't doing the maths properly on that, was it? Wally. Okay, it'll be fine. It's nice and quick though, right? So I'm just putting blobs of glue just on the sort of the backs of those, and it's just a case now of just tucking them in and around the place. So there and there. So close enough together so they look connected. Okay, a bit of pressing on there. There we go. Right, and then we imagine that we already done the other two as well, because we haven't been Wallies and forgotten. Right, and then can't believe that. Just a few rhinestones just to finish it off, really. Okay, all right. So just a little bit of just a touch of sparkle, just to, you know, it is. Whilst it might not be particularly a Christmas card, it's still a seasonal card. So a little bit of bling, just there, just to tie that all together. Okay. And that's it. So I just need to rinse and repeat with my die cut pieces there, but I've already got some strips that I can cut, so I can do that all over again with this one. In fact, you know, let's just do it. I think think that's going to be wide enough for the two, so I'll just, if you can sort of, you know, it's going to be 2 strips, that is, isn't it? And we'll do that. And that. And then we'll get our cherry cobbler. And do our berries at the top there, and that's it. We can just get those dies repositioned and get those die cut out for my second card. Okay, there we go. So this is the finished one. Okay, so just a reminder that that is cherry cobbler, pear pizzazz and crumb cake. This one was real red, shady spruce, and we've got basic grey and smoky slate, but grey, yeah. So some alternative ideas for you there. I hope you've enjoyed that, and yeah, make sure you do your maths right before you switch your camera on. Okay, thanks for joining me today. Stay safe, take care, see you again soon.